LSU drops game 2 and the series at Auburn. Can the Tigers salvage game 3? Let's talk about it. Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. And as always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. LSU drops game 2, 4-2 at Auburn. So the Tigers now lose the series, second road conference series loss of the season. Of course, losing earlier this year on the road in Austin against Texas. Well, now you've lost games 1 and 2. This is an uncomfortable position for LSU because for the first time this year, they're going into Sunday trying to salvage one game and avoid being swept. Of course, LSU won Friday night against Texas, and it was leading game 2, 5-2 in the fifth, and then the bullpen couldn't hang on to it, and then you were never really competitive on Sunday. This is an unfamiliar position for Jay Johnson's squad here in this season going into Sunday, trying to salvage one game. But that's the task that is ahead of them. Thank you so much for being with us. If you're new, a quick reminder about this format. I'll give you my thoughts on the game for about the first 10 minutes, grab a quick break, come back, and then it'll be all your questions and comments. So if you're with us live here on YouTube, thank you so much. Please drop your questions and comments. If you're watching or listening on demand, big shout out. We appreciate you for being here, especially our everydayers. But remember, as soon as every LSU baseball game goes final, we are live on the Locked on LSU YouTube channel. So make sure you go subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. So a few things that I jotted down. Number one, I thought, listen, obviously this game came down to the fact that LSU's offense just wasn't good enough. You got handcuffed by Auburn's pitching staff. Cade Fisher is someone who you really handled quite well the past 2 years when he was at Florida, and he kind of handcuffed you in this ball game. Unfortunately, Cade Fisher was plenty good enough. Went 5 innings, allowed just 1 run on 3 hits. The 1 run was the Milam solo homer. He struck out 6. And he walked 1. He even hit 3 guys, but he kept inducing fly balls. You heard, if you were watching the broadcast, Lynn Rollins mentioned it. There were 13, 14 fly ball out, something like that for LSU. And it's just, that's not a competitive way to go about your at bat. You want to put pressure on defense and force them to make a play. And you just weren't able to do that. Cade Fisher induced a lot of fly balls, and Auburn's bullpen was good enough as well. Even though LSU consistently got guys on base, they just couldn't get that breakthrough. When you look at LSU, LSU Tigers actually out-hit Auburn in this baseball game. LSU out-hit Auburn 8-7, but you left them loaded twice, and you left 11 men on base. I mean, you look back at how it all transpired. The 2 innings when you left them loaded in the top of the 4th and in the top of the 7th. In the top of the 4th, that was a great opportunity to try to get a breakthrough there, and Stanfield struck out with the bases loaded. You went Fry led off with a fly out to right center. Then Pearson was hit by a pitch, stole second. Hernandez struck out, so quickly you got 2 outs. But then Milam was hit by a pitch, and Braswell walked. So you load the bases without the benefit of a hit, and you couldn't make them pay for it because Hernandez and Stanfield both struck out. So you leave them loaded there. And then in the 7th, this is when Jay Johnson went to Jake Brown to pinch hit with the bases loaded. But, in the 7th inning, you had 2 hard hit balls, and you were finally breaking through against the reliever Armstrong, excuse me. And you get single to start the inning from Braswell Stanfield. Then Curiel hits the line out to short. Braswell had to hustle to get back to second. Then Jones popped up in shallow right. It's been a really bad weekend for Jones. Dickinson walks, so you got the bases loaded with 2 outs, and where LSU has been so good at times this year with 2 outs and forcing those 2-out rallies. Jake Brown pinch hit in that situation for Fry to get the lefty in there against Hetzler, the closer from Auburn, and Brown flew out to center. So, look, you pushed a run across in the 8th, and you had another opportunity with runners on base, and you just couldn't come through. So, just not a good enough day offensively. I thought Anthony Ianson and LSU's pitching was plenty good enough. I mean, you go on the road against an offense like Auburn, and you allow 4 runs and 7 hits, generally that's going to be plenty good enough for this LSU offense to win a game, but it just wasn't. LSU even played clean. There were no errors, but what really kind of hurt LSU in this ball game was the defense in the outfield in the 4th inning. And that's after Milam hit the home run to give LSU the lead in the top of the 2nd. Auburn broke through in the bottom of the 4th. But what really got you in this situation is they went double, strikeout, double. But both of the doubles they hit, they went double, strikeout, double, double. And so the 2 runs scored on the second 2 doubles. But both of those were poor plays. One was Curiel, who took a bad angle, backing up against the wall, couldn't make the catch. And then the second double, which scored the second run, was when Josh Pearson, moving toward right center, couldn't come up with the ball. It's probably not the right time to have this conversation, but then again, when is the right time? But it's another reason why I've consistently said all year I want Jake Brown in the lineup every day. He is unquestionably a better right fielder. Brown on the season, actually, I tweeted that and someone challenged me on it. So I went and looked up the fielding percentages. Brown on the season is fielding .971. Pearson on the season is fielding .938. Not to mention Brown has a better arm and he's got better range. He's going to get the balls that Pearson doesn't. Again, I understand Jay Johnson wanting to platoon, wanting to keep all these guys happy, but it just doesn't make a lick of sense. Jake Brown's one of your best players. He's certainly your best option in right field. And for me, if you're going to have, and in this game where you're facing Cade Fisher, who is a lefty, I understand that Braswell's at third and Fry's DHing to get the right-handed bats in the lineup. But in that situation, you're going to put a left-handed bat in left field, either Pearson or Brown. Give me the guy with the better glove. By the way, also the guy with the higher batting average in league play right now, and Jake Brown is hitting 60 points higher in league play than Josh Pearson is. But Pearson has a role. I'm not saying like he should be cast away to the bench and never see the light of day. Of course, he should have. But my contention has been consistently, if you're an everydayer, you've heard me say it, but I think Brown needs to be the everyday right fielder, and then you platoon Fry and Pearson at DH, depending on if you're looking for a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter at DH on that given day. So it hurts you in that situation. The game you lose by 2, you make, they would have been tough defensive plays, but it's plays we've seen Curiel make before, and then Pearson a play he certainly should have made in right field. But you make those 2 plays, it's a different ballgame. Maybe you're tied in the 9th inning, and who knows how it may go. On the mound, I thought LSU was plenty good enough in this ballgame. Ianson continues to be really good, and I know we have programmed in our brains what it looks like with dominance with Paul Skeens or what Cade Anderson did last week. But Ianson on the road went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits, struck out 5, only walked 1. I mean, he only gave them 1 base runner, and again, 2 of those doubles were plays that really your outfielders could have made, should have made, and maybe you cut the that hit total by a third and the run total in half that Ianson allowed, and you feel much differently. But the real, as disappointing as to lose the game, the real highlight is the bullpen. Connor Ware comes in and was absolutely awesome. Went an inning and a third, strikeout. He did have 1 walk, but he was pretty much clean against the 5 batters he faced. Connor Benj came in, gave you a clean inning, 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 7th. He went strikeout, pop out, fly out. And then Primo came in and pitched 2/3 of an inning. After Benj got the first out of the 8th, Primo came in and got a ground out single fly out there to get you through the 8th. So in any event, thought it was forgive me, Primo pitched pretty much pitched the last. Forgive me, I think my note may be wrong on this. Forgive me. I may have just jotted it down wrong. We're trying to see when Primo came into the game because he certainly didn't come in to start the 8th inning. After Rembert grounded out, Primo came in to pitch for Benj. And he got Irish to ground out and then Terrell to flat. So he didn't pitch a full inning. He only pitched 2/3 of an inning. Okay, that explains it. They had the box score wrong. He only pitched 2/3 of an inning. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, the bullpen was good in this ball game. And that's been the giant question mark for this team. Are there guys that you can continue to sort of count on out of the bullpen? We know in addition to Cowan and Evans, Ware, Benj, Primo combined to give you 3 innings of relief in this ball game, and they struck out 7. The only walk from the bullpen struck out 2. The only walk was the one from Connor Ware. Benj didn't walk anybody. Primo didn't walk anybody. That had been a problem. And you didn't allow a run out of the bullpen. So, your bullpen went and gave you 3 scoreless innings. And, that's something that if you had it against Texas, you win that series. So now LSU's got to turn the page, find a way to win game 3. Last week in game 3 against Alabama, they've been TBA, Auburn has, with their game 3. Andreas Alvarez pitched last week in game 3 against Alabama. In that outing, he went 2 2/3. Allowed 3 runs and 3 hits. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, not great. So they rallied in that ball game, and Griffin Graves ended up getting the win in that game as Auburn rallied to win 7-5 in game 3. So for LSU, of course, it'll be Chase Shores, but at the first sign of trouble now, because you haven't seen Cowan or Evans pitch this weekend, at the first sign of trouble, because you are all in to win game 3, this isn't a thing where you let Chase Shores go fight his way through it. If he gets touched up in the bottom of the first, you're going to the bullpen and you're going to get Zach Cowan. So we'll see how LSU might piece it together. But the good news is that you've got Shores, you've got Cowan, you've got Kason Evans. You certainly could bring William Schmidt out in this ball game. Connor Benj could come back. He only threw 12 pitches. Primo threw 15. He could go again. You have essential Cooper Williams and Maverick Rizzi could both come back in game 3. You have no shortage of options out of the bullpen in game 3 to piece it together to make it work. And you have your 2 best arms fully rested in Cowan and Evans. So see if the Tigers can get the bats going a little bit. It's been a struggle here through the first 2 days as Auburn's really pitched it well, which is interesting because, Butch Thompson, their head coach by trade, is a pitching coach, but this Auburn team is 12th in the SEC in staff ERA, 5th in batting average. So that's a team that really swings it well. They haven't necessarily pitched it well this year, but so far through 2 games, they've pitched it certainly better than LSU has, and found a way to get out there and capitalize in key moments, which LSU hasn't been able to do. So Tigers lose game 2, 4-2. Let me knock out our only break. This is very quick. It's less than a minute. We'll knock out our quick break, come back, and we'll get to your questions and comments. So drop them in the live chat. We appreciate you for being here with us. Locked on LSU, your team every day. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. With 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and so much more. Head over to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. That's Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Okay, let's get to you. Thanks for being with us here on this Saturday night as LSU loses the series to Auburn here in Game 2, 4-2. Tigers will try to salvage Game 3 on Sunday there at Plainsman Park. Jude starts us off. If Jay doesn't want to make decisions to win games, maybe we should get someone who does. I don't know, Jude. See, here's my thing. We can always agree or disagree with strategy and how things go. My point on baseball has always been, we all know it's a game of failure. It's cliche, but it's true. You fail 70% of the time, you're in the Hall of Fame. So you're going to fail a lot, and you have to get comfortable with failure. So I understand most of the time the decisions that you make are not going to work, but can I understand the logic behind why you did what you did? Like, can you understand the logic of bringing Primo in as a lefty to face 3 consecutive lefties in Auburn's lineup? Yes, regardless of how it goes. Now, it went well for Primo. Can you understand why he went to Jake Brown against Hetzler in the 7th? Yes, I can, because Hetzler's a righty they brought in after pulling Armstrong, the lefty. And so they brought Brown, the lefty, in. They also gave Ashton Larson a left-handed pinch hit at bat as well against the righty. They were trying to get left-handers in line. Both those guys flew out to center. So I can understand the logic, regardless of whether or not it worked or not. I'm assuming what you're referring to is Jake Brown in right field, which is, I agree with you. That's been my contention all along. Jake Brown has a higher fielding percentage. He's got better range. He's objectively a better arm. He's objectively a better right fielder than Josh Pearson. And he's actually hitting for better average overall and in conference play. So, yes, I believe Jake Brown's a better option. He would play for me every day. But I'm not the coach. I don't fill out the lineup card. And Jay Johnson's won a national championship and is a great coach. And I wouldn't want anybody else coaching LSU baseball. So it's disappointing, but it's just kind of what it is, man. Hey, Thomas, thanks for being there. Ryan, bullpen was great without Evans and Cowan. You get no run support from your offense. Disappointing. That really is the that's what it is. NIL Youngboy said the pop-up house of college baseball. Very well done. Of course, the play on the fact that LSU's baseball slogan is the powerhouse of college baseball. They did hit way too many balls in the air. Sometimes you can credit the opponent for inducing those fly balls. I think at some point you have to be willing to adjust to what they're doing. You've got to stay on top of the baseball. You have to hit it on the ground and on the line, hit it where they're not. Look, Stephen Milam had a great at bat where they shifted against him when he was he'd switched to the left side and he just poked one to the right side for a single. That's the one where he had to scramble to get back to first base. But sometimes that's what being a disciplined hitter is. One thing that just really hurts this team right now is that Jared Jones is scuffling. And I don't worry about Jared Jones. He's awesome. He was 0 for 5 in this ballgame with 3 strikeouts, and he had a pop out to shallow right, really right behind second base. Every hitter in the history of mankind has gone through it. You've gone through a scuffle. So you just got to go keep taking at bats, and eventually the average will turn. Monty, as soon as the bullpen steps up, the offense stagnates. Brian, bases loaded twice, no runs. Bases loaded twice with 2 outs both times. So both times you had to come through with a hit or get some good fortune like a defensive error or something like that. You just didn't get the hit. Donovan, can't blame the bullpen. Got to score runs. Bryant, I want to puke. Luckily, LSU has done well enough so far to give up a series. Look, man, it's hard to win in the SEC. It's harder to win on the road in the SEC. And Auburn is a team right outside the top 10 in the country. It's a good baseball team you're playing. So, the thing as you look at it, though, record-wise, coming into this series at 10-2, and now you're at 10-4, to get to 20-10, right? At the midway point, you'd want to be at 10-5 or better. Well, they're going to be there regardless of what happens on Sunday. That's the good news. The tricky spot is you've still got to play Tennessee, Arkansas, and you have to go to Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M, 8 days ago, we were thinking that was going to be a breeze. Now Texas A&M looks like the team they were projected to be at the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden that series looks really challenging. So file that one away, but see if you can go get a win here. Yellow Jacket, embarrassing weekend. Jones need to figure it out fast. Yeah, Jared Jones is fine, man. Like, I watched Brad Cressy go 0 for the College World Series and then was the hero in 2000. Like, I watched Alex Bregman go 0 for his first 23 of his professional career. Like, every hitter in the history of mankind has gone through it, man. You keep plugging away. With the way the SEC is, 18 conference wins should be an automatic national seed. I don't know that I agree with that math. Bryant, 12 runners left on tonight, 12 pop flies. It was 11 left on base. If I'm looking at this correctly, yeah, LSU left 11 on base, but it was 13. Was it 13 or 14? According to Lynn Rollins. Clint, thanks for being there. AD, what's going on? Clint says, my glass half full takeaway, your bullpen has been excellent this weekend. That's objectively true. And I know that this offense isn't going to have many weekends like this where they struggle the way they have. They're one of the best offenses in the country. But you're on the road in a hitter's ballpark against a good offensive team, and your bullpen has pitched well. that's a good place to be. RCRA Dave, Shores, Cowan, Evans to win game 3. LSU bats have to come alive. I mean, the other part about game 3, I mentioned Andres Alvarez he's the one who got the ball in game 3 for Auburn last week. He likely gets the ball tomorrow. He hasn't pitched yet. Hetzler's already thrown. Armstrong's already thrown. So you've seen some of their best arms already, which puts you in a good spot for game 3. But then again, I don't want to be redundant. You were in a good spot in game 1 with Anderson on the bump. You were in a good spot today with Einson, who had pitched well against Fisher, who you really dominated the last 2 years. And Fisher went out and had his best outing of the year so far. So sometimes you tip your cap, man. I know that sucks to say and to do and the reality of it, but that's kind of where you are right now. But yes, you are set up tomorrow with Chase Shores and then with Cowan and Evans ready to go to hopefully be able to limit Auburn offensively and see if your bats can get going a little bit against what will be a bullpen day for Auburn. Soup 2, go Tigers. Watching Jones try to sweep the plate or swing at high balls drives me crazy. Hitting is hard, man. Like, I just don't have a lot of tolerance for credit. I mean, Jared Jones has been absolutely magnificent this season. And when you're a guy with that much ability and power and ability to hit to all fields with power or average, you might see one fastball in that bat. I mean, did you hear the color commentator on the broadcast whenever he fouled the fastball straight in the screens? Like, I put a good swing on it. It was aggressive. That's the one he made. It was the best pitch you got to see all weekend. Like, I think sometimes when you're scuffling a little bit, you might press, but he'll figure it out. Eric, jammy, silver lining bullpen was nails, no doubt. You got an opportunity to go get a game. Listen, can they learn to hit on the ground yet? I would hope so, man. Let's see. Reed said Brown had his chance and he choked. I mean, tell me you know nothing about baseball without telling me you know nothing about baseball. My God, Reed. If you're going to judge someone in totality by one at bat, then Jared Jones is a terrible baseball player, right? I mean, get out of here, man. Jeez. Like, that's the kind of thing that it's hard to tolerate comments like that. One at bat. I mean, Stanfield struck out with the bases loaded. He's literally your best hitter in conference play, hitting 380 in conference play. He struck out with the bases loaded tonight. You're going to come here and dump on Stanfield? It's the worst part. It's the worst part of listening to LSU fans who bring a football mindset to baseball, where you treat every baseball game like a football game. Like, it's never fun to lose, ever. It sucks. I mean, it's a bummer LSU lost the series. But you're going to, everyone's going to lose series. Like, you're going to lose games, you're going to lose series. That's why baseball is a game of averages. Guys are going to strike out. Guys are going to have 0 for 5 nights with 3 strikeouts. It's why you play so many games and you have such a large sample size to take averages. So this stinks. You lost 2 games. It's really disappointing. Okay. Go try to take game 3. You'd hit the halfway point in conference play at 11 wins. You're outpacing what you would need, which is really the baseline to be a national seed. You got your 2 toughest series remaining, Tennessee and Arkansas, both at home. Remind you, this is back-to-back road conference series, which is something my hands in the air. Probably didn't talk enough about this week. Probably should have talked more about what that means going on the road back-to-back weeks in conference. Let's see. Failed to take advantage of a day when Arkansas and Texas both lost. That said, they both lost, so you didn't lose ground. It's true. Okay. Let's see if we can get to a couple more here. Losing to Auburn is worse than Texas. I don't know that I agree with that, Jared. The truth is, in conference play, they all count the same. So I don't think anybody here, while you would love to see LSU win the regular season SEC, I don't think that's anybody's goal. Like if LSU wins the regular season SEC but doesn't make it to Omaha, and nobody's like, yeah, but we won the SEC. The objective is to get to Omaha and win when you're there. And to get to Omaha, the best path is to go through Baton Rouge. And to do that, your surest fire way is you win 20 SEC games and you're there, man. Like you win 20 SEC games, you're a national seed. So no matter what happens on Sunday at the halfway point of league play, you're at 10-5, you're pacing for 20-10. So go win a game tomorrow and you're ahead of that pace. You got a game to play with as you move through the second half of conference play. All right, please smash the like button if you would subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all so much for being here with us. Let's see if I can get to a couple more here. Robert says Jay Johnson has to have a better feel for the game. Stop trusting analytics so much. Yeah, Robert, I don't know that I agree with that, man. Like, I think Jay a lot of times does go on instinct and how he feels about a guy on a given day. The point where I would agree certainly is the defensive alignment. I don't love. We've talked about it a good bit here, and I'm not just talking about like shifting, but there's times where Mark Wanaka, Jay said he's the best ever at defensive placement, where you'll see them maybe move the second baseman behind the second, or the shortstop behind the second base bag, and it leaves a big hole because the analytics say this guy's more likely to hit. And I get there's part of that. And again, maybe it is just confirmation bias, where if you feel a certain way about it and it doesn't work out, like if you don't like the fact that they shift, and when the shift doesn't work, you go, why do they shift? I mean, I tend like that I'm telling you that may be the case. I'm with you on that. But to the analytics part, if it was all about analytics, Jake Brown would have been in the lineup tonight. He's a better fielder and a better hitter than Josh Pearson. And you're facing a lefty, and so they went with Pearson over Brown, who are both lefties. Why'd you make that decision? I don't know if he specifically just looked at what are their splits against lefties, but my guess is he thought he was trying to win a game and went with a veteran guy on the road in the SEC. Let's see. Jay has to find a set lineup. Only change DH. I've never seen a coach do this. The way that Jay has explained it, and look, you know how I feel about it at this point. The way Jay has explained it is that he wants to get those guys to combine to be, their averages to be like an all-conference or all-American player. And my contention is I would rather just have an all-American player. Like instead of going and recruiting 10 guys in the portal, pool your money, recruit 3 guys that are all conference all-American players. So you don't end up in this situation where you feel like, I do believe he feels like he's got to keep guys happy. That's not just a gut feeling. There's conversations I've had that are privileged, but that there is a feeling like that. Now it's worked. I mean, they're a top 5 team in the country. They're 10-4 through 14 league games. But there are times where I think it is fair to ask, like, is that sustainable? Is that the right approach? Hollywood said, what happened to Larson? Derek Curiel happened to Larson. I don't know any other way to say it, man. Curiel's awesome. Needs to be in the lineup every day. Stanfield's your everyday center fielder, and deservedly so. He's your leading hitter in SEC play, and he's a fantastic defensive center fielder. Like down the 9 hole, it's a second leadoff hitter. I think it's a fantastic job he's done. So then you look at right field, where you're platooning already with Brown and Larson, which has eaten up the majority of this conversation here today. Where do you put Larson in? Fry, Brown and Fry. Where do you put Larson in? Well, just a really disappointing one, man. It's one of those games where you look up and you're coming into this series, the Achilles heel for this team was the bullpen, and your bullpen pitched great tonight. You got 3 innings of relief from your bullpen, 3 innings of scoreless relief from your bullpen. And the 2 runs they put up in the 4th, both your left fielder and your right fielder had opportunities to make those plays. Didn't. They go down as back-to-back doubles, And that's the margin in the game. You out-hit Auburn, but you left 11 on base. You had 2 bases loaded situations. Stanfield struck out with the bases loaded. Brown flew out with the bases loaded. And just the way it went, man. Wasn't your night, unfortunately. So Tigers have to get back and see if they can steal one tomorrow, then come home next week to take on an Alabama team that, at home, you would think, you're a better team than Alabama. You're back at the box, that you can get that series and get back on track here. But we'll see. The other one that people are talking about certainly is the platoon at third, about Braswell and Reeves. I understand the conversation about Braswell and Reeves. And my point all along has been I'd go Braswell. And maybe I'm just conditioned after watching Paul Maneri's teams for so long lean so heavily on defense that Paul would sacrifice, and there's many different ways to skin a cat. Paul would sacrifice a bat for an elite glove, especially at a premium defensive position, catcher, short, center field. I think this offense has enough that I'd rather the better defensive players in the field, even if you give up a little bit offensively. Now, Braswell is hitting 300 in conference play, and he's a much better defender at third. So, yes, I agree with you. I would rather Braswell. I think Braswell and Reeves are at they're what and what in conference play offensively. I think they're like 304 and 303, at least coming into this game. But yes, Braswell hit 310 in league play a year ago. He's proven he can hit SEC pitching. I think Reeves, the thing we've said, Reeves has a higher ceiling, like athletically, with the power tool. Like Reeves has a higher ceiling than Braswell. So that's kind of tantalizing because how do you improve if you don't play? It's kind of like Aaron Beatty and Hernandez. Aaron Beatty's the higher ceiling player. Like Hernandez is probably bumping up against his ceiling right now. Hernandez is just scratching, or Aaron Beatty's just scratching the surface. Like Aaron Beatty, it wouldn't surprise me a lick if you fast forward in 10 years and Aaron Beatty's a big leaguer. I'm not saying it'll take 10 years for him to get to the show, but like that if he's a big leaguer. Like Hernandez, I don't think that's in his future. But you have to make a decision to win now, right? And so you're going with the guy in Hernandez who's a better option now, the veteran player, than the young guy with the higher ceiling. So you're getting Aaron Beatty reps in the midweek. So like that's kind of how I think maybe you would handle third, which is Braswell starts on the weekend and you let Reeves start in the midweek. And if you're desperate for a left-handed bat, maybe Reeves gets in there and gets a pinch hit. But we'll see how it goes. All right, y'all, let's wrap this thing up. I appreciate you so much for being there with us here on Locked On LSU. If you're listening or watching on demand, remember we're live after every LSU baseball game on the Locked On LSU YouTube channel. If you're with us live, do me a favor, please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video or we go live. All right, y'all have an awesome night. We'll be here again tomorrow or Sunday after LSU and Auburn wrap up their series. It's Locked On LSU, your team every day.